Welcome to the Coach's Corner. I'm Matthew Kaufman alongside Aaron Ettinger. Coach, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Now let's dig into this season a little bit. 7-0, great start here in the fall. What has impressed you most about this team with a very young team that you have coming into this year?
Yeah, I mean, coming into this past season, they were winless a year ago. We had a really good spring. I thought we had a lot of really good pieces to build on. We had Molly Rohan coming back, Sarah Rados, and Kellen Hackett-Slim. Then we brought 3 first-years in who have really just hit the ground running, all 3 of whom have scoring averages in the 80s, which has been really incredible. Kennedy Petrovich has won each of her matches this year. She's been a medalist in every match. But I think just the collective nature of the team has been really cool, just to see how well they've bonded, how well they've worked together, and just kind of the collective goal coming into this weekend. Our goal was to finish 3rd in the conference, and that was something we were able to achieve.
Now, you mentioned one of the young players in Kennedy. She's a captain this year. What kind of went into that thought as coming in as a freshman, naming her captain, and what's impressed you most about how she's led the team in leadership, but also, while, I guess, not just leading the team, but as you've kind of progressed throughout the year?
Yeah, so I actually let the team vote on this at the beginning of the season. So they had an opportunity to vote who they felt had showed those leadership skills. And Kennedy was named captain, Molly was named captain as well. But I think one of the most impressive things about Kennedy, she is always like the first one at the course. She beats me to practice most days, always working on different things, and just really picks our brains as coaches. But I think that her leadership has been really evident from the very beginning, just the way she lifts everyone up around her. From a playing standpoint, she's obviously done that, but just from a personality and leadership standpoint, she's done that since day one. I think she's really just set the tone for the team.
Now, you mentioned kind of that team bonding a little bit. What does it mean to you as a coach that, again, you mentioned winless last year, now heading into this year, 7-0 in the fall, seeing that team bonding, how close these girls are with each other? What does that mean to you as a head coach entering now kind of a little bit of off time getting ready for the spring season?
Yeah, and it's always an unknown. Like when you recruit a new class coming in, along with Kennedy, we had Peyton Sermonero and Isabella Westerfield, who have also had incredible fall seasons. You hope that the mesh is going to happen early and that the bond is going to take off, but you just never know. Those first couple weeks is almost like a feeling out period, just to see how things are going to go. You have the 3 returners, you have 3 incoming first years, but at least from my perspective, I think that they've just really meshed well early in the season. But I think they just kind of found their niche early on within each other, and then the collective goal of just being able to find a way to get better every single day. Like we had a great fall, but I think we keep saying like the best is yet to come, and I think that from those 3 plus the 3 returners, they just continue to push each other to become the best versions of themselves, and hopefully within these next couple of years we're landmark champions.
Now, finishing 3rd in the landmark preview, what was your message to the team entering that match and then after finishing 3rd?
Yeah, so we had really high goals for this season. I thought, from day one we had an opportunity to be really good. As you said, it was an undefeated regular season, which was the first time in program history. We had the most wins in program history. The top 3 was something that we had discussed going in. I think I left there feeling excited about the finish, but really optimistic and confident that, as I just said, like we can continue to get better. So Drew knocked us out by 20 strokes from 2nd to 3rd. I think that we had quite a few strokes that we could have easily eliminated to get ourselves within that range. But Catholic is really right, like we're there. And so I think that the goal, although it was top 3 in the fall, now I want to see us get into the top 2 in the spring. I think we have a really good opportunity to compete with Catholic for that conference championship.
Now, what is it going to take to get to that spot as you enter the spring?
Yeah, and it's just shaving a couple strokes off from each of our players. As long as we're able to post, 1 player in the 70s, if we can get 3 in the 80s, and it's going to have to be low to mid 80s, but if we're able to do that, all of a sudden, we're going to be right there in those top 2 teams. But I didn't think we played our best on day 2. I thought day 1 was a really good day, especially considering the weather conditions. Day 2, I thought we did a lot of really good things, but it wasn't exactly like our best. We thought going in, we're going to have to shoot low 330s to be able to put ourselves in a really good position. We ended up going about 14, 15 strokes higher than that. If we shave those off each day, then all of a sudden we're right there in contention.
Now, is there anything that you tell your players going into a match, like you mentioned, the weather conditions? Is there things that you guys do training-wise before the season starts, during practices throughout the week, to get ready for those weather conditions? Do you look ahead before, say, Monday if you have a match on Saturday, Sunday, just to kind of feel out how it's going to go?
It's just tricky just because, being an outdoor sport, we just really can't control the conditions that are going to be out there leading up. The one thing that we tried to do to prepare ourselves, we went to a different course for practice on Thursday. We went to Bucknell Golf Club to prepare ourselves that way because that's a course that I think really mimics what we're going to see at Shawnee. It's just difficult. Golf is so different from every other sport. Basketball is always going to be 94 feet. Baseball, the diamonds aren't going to change. The fences might be a little bit longer, but the course is always going to change for golf. So you try to prepare yourselves the best you can. Elements are kind of out of our control a little bit, but just trying to be able to mimic that. And our course is also a lot shorter than what we saw at Shawnee. So being able to make those adjustments. Some of the girls were hitting clubs that they're not used to hitting in those scenarios. So I think, some things that we've already discussed, trying to adjust, trying to familiarize ourselves with some of those longer shots and just different situations this spring. That way when we go to Landmark Championship, it's not such a surprise.
Now, you're also the assistant basketball coach for the women's team. How do you kind of balance getting ready for the winter season from the fall and then right back into the mix in the spring?
Yeah, so these last couple weeks have been really hectic. I've not been home a whole lot. So we had quite a few 6 a.m. basketball practices. So I would go 6 a.m. basketball, teaching at school, and I would have golf right after school. We had some days where we had some later basketball practices. I have not been at basketball a whole lot. We're coming off a great season from a year ago, but my focus has been the golf team throughout this fall and trying to give everything I can for that group. Now that golf has ended, I actually just came here from basketball practice tonight. Just that transition piece right now, trying to be able to get to that, while at the same time still incorporating some winter practices for our golf team before we start back up in the spring as well. So it's a balancing act at times for sure, but it's something I really enjoy doing because I do really enjoy both sports.
Now, what's the one thing that you enjoy most about being able to coach 2 different sports really through 3 seasons?
Yeah, it's very different. Like the way that you prepare for golf and basketball are just very different. Obviously, basketball involves a lot of scouting reports and film and breakdowns. Golf, it's just we're focused on us, and I do like that component of it. There's never anything that you're preparing for in an opponent. It's just the course that you're going to play and the group there. But I would say the biggest enjoyment, like both of our groups have great players on the team, but golf this year has just really taken off in terms. I love the 6 of them, and I love the progress that they've made, and I just enjoyed every second. I truly hated to have the season come to an end. I said that to him in conversation and text after, like I wanted to see it continue because of the success that we were having there. So both are enjoyable in their own right, just kind of a different way of looking at things. But yeah, golf was a ton of fun this year.
Well, Coach, good luck on the women's basketball season. Good luck again in the spring. Thank you for joining us. For Coach Aaron Ettinger, I'm Matthew Kaufman. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Coach's Corner.